Hey everyone, my name is Dr. Dolores Tarver. I'm a licensed psychologist here in Georgia, and it is time for the Tea Time with Dr. Tarver is a wellness-based podcast. It is not intended to be a substitute for a relationship with a licensed mental health provider. Hey everybody, I'm so excited to see you again. We took a little break in July for some much needed rest, and now we are back, and I'm very excited about our August episodes, which will be conversations with guests about different types of things from dating to grief and loss, transition from a period of incarceration, losing children, and also, as you all know, the overturning of Roe versus Wade and how that's affecting people. So we got much to talk about. So let's go ahead and get into it because I have two phenomenal guests with me today. So let me introduce first Miss Japonica Brown, who has a Bachelor of Arts from Tougaloo College, a Master of Fine Arts from Brandeis University in Waltham, Massachusetts, has 2 master's degrees in school counseling, and has had a wonderful career in theater and TV. She has directed, she's been in instruction in the department, she counsels children currently. She started a mentoring program entitled Loving Leah, Loving, Empowering, and Accepting Herself, which exposes our young girls to social exercises, motivational speakers, life skills, and activities that promote self-love, self-empowerment, and self-acceptance. She started I Am Japonica, where she specializes in motivational speaking, directing, producing, writing, and counseling, wrote an outstanding novel, I Have Something to Say, and wrote and performed That's Something to Be for the Democratic National Convention Women's Caucus meeting. Welcome, Miss Japonica Brown.
Hello. Wow, that lady sounds cool.
Doesn't she sound
Right.
amazing? She's phenomenal. I love to have
She
her as a
sounds like
guest.
she's doing something great in her life. I want to be a part of that.
Yeah, she's doing amazing things. I like to celebrate young, gifted, and Black.
All right now, girl.
Okay, all right. We also have Miss Ebony Young, who is a 2019 graduate of Troy University with a master's in counseling psychology and is a national certified counselor. She studies, practices, and utilizes mindfulness in her work as a therapist. One of her favorite mantras is, "No one else is you, and that is your power." She is the peacock proud mother of 10-year-old Micah Curry, her beautiful son. Welcome, Miss Ebony Young.
Thank you. Hello, everyone.
Outstanding. So now y'all know we get to talking, and I want to keep us on track. So we're going to have to go ahead and get in this thing.
Yeah.
So let's just dive right in. We know that dating is an experience.
Yes.
And so I'm sure that you all have had many different types of experiences in your dating. Let's start off with what you feel like are some of your biggest mistakes, or some big mistakes that we as women make out here in these dating streets.
Yeah.
Would you like to go first?
Oh, sure. Okay. Well, I think so if I had to say some of the biggest mistakes that we make as women when we start to get in relationships, I would give you maybe my top 3. I think thing number 1, we date potential, not people. I think we've had this particular conversation before where we look at someone and we see what they can be, like what it could be, what life like with them might be like. And this kind of gives us some rose-colored glasses to look through instead of like the reality and acceptance, a measure of acceptance for what is. I think thing number 2 is that we do a lot of we take our time and we don't start to practice healthy relationship practices in the beginning when we don't have so much attachment. We wait until after we're feeling really connected and attached to someone and then try to implement those boundaries. And we know by then we kind of love drunk and we struggle. You know, we think those red flags look like a roller coaster and we here for the ride tonight, right? So we kind of try our best to look over everything because we really want to be with this person, but it's after we're already attached. I think if we would kind of practice some of those healthy behaviors in the beginning, then it will be easy for us to accept what is and kind of move on for things that don't feel right for us. And then I think lastly would be the phenomenon of the chameleon, right? The woman who turns into her partner, right? Anytime she meets someone, she can make him fit. She can make herself fit with him. She's a chameleon. She can fit with any partner in any circumstance. It don't matter, you know, from the rude boy to the royalty, right? she can be with any of them because she's kind of a shapeshifter. And I think a lot of times what we do is we believe that we need to be more of or less than or change in ways so that we can be accepted and loved fully and known fully. And I think those are probably the top 3 biggest mistakes that I myself and even observed some of my sisters making in the dating world.
You got a collection plate, Japonica, because
girl, listen. Now what she ain't gonna do is come for my edges. That's not what she's not gonna do. We've been friends. We was cool.
We better than that. Let's not do that, sis. Okay.
Yeah, I'm joking.
I hear you.
Okay, so as far as the 3 biggest mistakes, I'm gonna talk about mine specifically. So I don't know how it happened in my childhood, but I got very Disney. I am like a whole new world. I'm like, just a dreamer and a lover, and I just get so excited. And then if you couple that with me being a believer and a part of the body of Christ, and I'm waiting, Lord, I will get so excited. I'll be like, oh my God, it's him, Jesus. Yes, Lord, Jesus, I'm gonna get married. He's my husband, and that's not the case. So I think a lot of times for me, through a lot of therapy and work on myself, I've developed skills that have served me in dating, like setting healthy boundaries, understanding what works for me, what doesn't work for me. But when I be meeting these people, not everybody, not everybody, because you know,
I
like everybody. You know, I meet a lot of people, but I only really like 3 out of all of them. So when I met one of them, all that stuff I learned in therapy went away.
Just gone.
Oh my God, it's him. I started singing songs. I was a musical. I was grooving the R&B songs. Tamia, So Into You at the red light. Because I was like, that is him, Jesus. So I think it's me keeping 10 toes down, like not losing myself in the moment of it all. And really, like Ebony said, paying attention to those red flags, because a lot of times I've met someone once, and I just thought he was everything I prayed for. And the truth of the matter was he was some of what I prayed for.
Come on, honesty.
He was maybe like 25, 30% of what I prayed for.
Oh, wow.
We carried the one.
The thing that he was missing was it was so important and vital to my mental health. And my mental, outside of the spiritual realm, how are you serving me in my mental capacity? Are you toxic in that space? So me keeping 10 toes down, I've made that mistake. I fly away. The other thing is allowing fear to influence my decisions. I am closer to 40 than I am 30.
Come on over.
Okay, come on in the room. And I have this pressure, and I really don't even know where it's coming from. Maybe societal pressure about getting older. I don't have children, so that can play a part in that. Culturally, being a Black woman and not having a man, honey, you named off all them accomplishments and degrees, but that don't mean nothing at the family reunion, because I'm still sitting there making plates with the children that don't belong to me, my nieces and nephews. So the fear of, am I going to die alone? That's real. You know what I'm saying?
Come on, speak on it.
That's real.
So for me, my mistake was allowing fear to drive decisions, going and being with people I know I really didn't want to be with, but I was there because, Lord, it's a warm body. And Betty White lied when she said having a piece of man is better than having no man.
She lied.
It was deception.
You have led us astray. That's not going to work for me. The third thing I believe that I have made mistakes in dating is allowing other people to influence whom I date. Just because he's a good guy don't mean he's the right guy for me.
Come on now.
I'll give an example because I'm a little bit of a nerd. I like to put puzzles together. Don't judge me.
I like a good puzzle.
I will be fascinated with a puzzle, and I'm meticulous, and I'm like, well, Lord, it goes in there, but it ain't a perfect fit. Ooh. And God started to minister to me. Just because it go in the groove don't mean it was designed for that piece. And so I really
come on, metaphor.
It's too much.
I had to think about that, like, Lord, just because we vibe on this level and this level doesn't mean he's the perfect piece for me for where I'm going.
That's right.
So I was allowing family or friends to get in my head like, girl, he a nice dude, and I don't know what you're thinking about. Ain't that many people out here. You're getting older. Allowing their opinions to shape whom I date. So those are my 3 mistakes.
That's good.
Listen, we can go ahead and end the podcast right now because you all have laid out, I think, what every, not just women, but what every person in a dating experience has gone through at some point. You all have highlighted, we see that stuff, we ignore it because we got this magical thinking like, oh, but God, I prayed for you. And so surely it must be you, because I just got off my knees in the closet. So it had, you the first person I saw since then. So it has to be until we try to force fit. I love that puzzle metaphor. Like we're trying to force fit things because we're afraid. Literally at underneath all of this is I don't want to be alone. I don't want to be judged. You mentioned the family reunion and I'm showing up again. Dateless, and what is one of the first questions people going to ask? Well, you ain't dating nobody, you too pick. Well, what's going on with you? What's wrong with you? You know, and so we don't want to be judged and be thought to be inadequate. You mentioned the worth issues about like we tie our worth. Ebony said we be a chameleon out here, trying to fit whatever I think that you would want me to be, partner, because I just want you to choose me. Right. And everything that you all listed is none of the stuff that actually makes us healthy and whole, because that wholeness will never come from a person. But if I'm looking for said person to fill that void, then I'm going to engage in everything that you all just outlined. And so, of course, as we talk about the mistakes in dating, you all have grown. It sounds like you've learned some things. But as Japonica said, you know, that go out the window, even that good therapy I had. Why do we stay? Right? What makes it so hard for us to leave when we recognize the flags? I see this is not a good fit. I know you just filling space for me because I'm lonely and scared right now. You have done this several times because we've been down this road before. What makes us stay?
Yeah. Ooh, okay. So for me, I've gotten a lot better with leaving. I will leave. I actually have a breakup text message saved in my notes, and it pretty much, and I just
not the text, sis. Not the text. Ready for
it. We're not talking about them committed relationships with me and my mom and them.
Okay.
We're talking about somebody we just dealing with.
A transitional person.
Right. I will send you a text. I'll change the name on it so it's personalized. But no, like
not the form letter.
I know, right? And it sounds really ruthless, but I really do have a connected relationship with God. So when things aren't right, my spirit, I'll feel it. Basically, I think God communicates in the feeling, especially when you're tapped into the Holy Spirit. And I don't want to make it spiritual, but that is a part of my dating.
That's a part of it,
yeah. It's like I seek Him in all things, and so if I'll have to get quiet, meditate, and just bring all my energy in, and just ask myself, okay, Japonica, what is it? And it could be simple of you don't want Him. You're with Him because you don't want to be by yourself, or you're with Him because you're trying to get over that other one, or whatever. And so it's not fair to that person for me to continue to drag them along in the space that we're in, because he's not getting the whole me, the full me, or the real me. And I'm not willing to open myself up to the whole him, because that's not where I want to be. So I've made a practice to go ahead and cut it off pretty early on. But there have been those ones that slipped through the crack. Okay, Ebony, you shaking your head, you know. That's right. You just couldn't shake it, Lord.
Boy, today, God.
And you got to go to the God and pray on it. But why did I stay with that particular person, or just kept going back and forth in that entanglement situation? Was because I was convinced that he was the one. And in my mind, I couldn't rationalize, or my heart, I couldn't rationalize what my mind was telling me. And so I had to learn, if his words are incongruent with his behavior is the truth. Because I can lie. I can put the pretty words in there.
Speak on it.
But my nature will always peek through. And he was doing things one way and saying something. Japonica, I want to be with you. You the one, but your actions weren't lining up with that. And so I had to choose me.
Come on, sis.
over
Come on,
choosing him.
sis. Yeah.
And I had to say, look, I love me, and I gotta
Mhm.
love me more than I love you because you're not loving me
Absolutely.
right. So
Absolutely.
I stayed because I could not, in my mind, I had convinced myself that he was my husband,
Mhm.
and I was willing to deal with the stuff now to hopefully
Mhm.
get the stuff I wanted later.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
ain't supposed to be like that, you know.
Yeah.
You know,
And,
you
yeah,
don't
and you mentioned the spirituality piece. I think church sometimes sets us up for that dynamic that
speak
we
on
got
that.
that we need to love people through things. Like, oh, I
Yeah.
just need to stay with you. Like if I just give you time and grace and patience and you'll
As a
get
woman,
there.
I'm supposed to undergird you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And
I'm supposed to allow this and you're going to come around
yeah, and
and
pray you through it.
yeah, I pray you
And
through it. Yeah.
and maybe that's for marriage, but dating is a different thing. I
Yeah.
also think that, and I'm going to say this, I'm going to let Ebony go because I don't want to talk too much, but I do want to say that the church, and I don't want to be disrespectful.
But let's be honest about
Okay,
some of the messages, these
the
internal
church,
messages we are receiving.
the church has set up a dynamic that is not in favor of women in dating.
Mm-hmm.
It is be found, be found. And so all of us is sitting around trying to be found while these men are walking around and enjoying everybody, walking around and dating everyone, sometimes sleeping with everyone. And it's this pick me in energy. It's this choose me energy. And it really goes to that self-worth. And it's not fair. Men, I feel like, the Bible speaks on he who findeth the wife findeth a good thing. And that's true. He finds a good thing in finding the wife that's supporting him where he's going. But I think people manipulate that word
Absolutely.
for their benefit, and it's always in serving the male interest. It's dating multiple people, sleeping with multiple people, while these women are supposed to sit and look cute, patiently waiting on someone to choose them.
Be virtuous.
Be virtuous. But if we all virtuous, then who you sleeping with? Because you're sleeping with somebody, right?
With no virtues.
With,
With no virtues. Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
that it takes away from my worth if I don't have. So if you didn't find me,
right.
If you didn't choose me, then what does that What does that say about me?
And I think that's a big thing too. I think sometimes you mentioned those messages, and I think Japonica hit on it a while ago, right? So here we are, we're sitting and we're waiting and hoping to be chosen. You described it as pick me energy, and that's a perfect description. But I think we talked about like why people stay, and that leads into the idea that we're chasing the carrot, right? So we think of the rabbit who chases the carrot around the track, around the track, around the track. I think a lot of times we as women don't want to invest so much and not get anything back. So here we are waiting to be chosen, hoping to be picked, believing, like I said, like Japonica said, convincing ourselves that this person is our person. This is our one. And then when we've invested 1, 3, 5, 7, 10 years, and there's no carrot reward at the end, right? We feel slighted. And so I think a lot of times we tend to hang out in places where we think we're waiting for our just what we deserve, right? So I've invested so much time, I've given so much, I've given my body, I've given my money, I've given my space, I've given my youth to this person, and they're not returning that favor. And I think part of that element is we don't want to be viewed as easy or promiscuous or unvirtuous or unworthy of being chosen because of whatever reason. And
or
I think
old maid.
Or old maid, right? So we're
not
getting old and old maid, right? And I think men don't have that same stigma. They're distinguished as they age. We're old maids, they're distinguished gentlemen as they age, right? And so we have to kind of look at those messages, those narratives, but we also adopt those and then we act them out. So they persist because we act them out.
Because I start feeling like I'm used goods because you keep telling me that I'm used goods because I'm still here. But as you said, Japonica, we're talking about a man that is not the man we're dating. This man that this biblical scripture is referring to is not this man I'm dating. So first of all, he's not even valuing God in this way. He's not looking at the family in this way, that it is my responsibility to serve in this. So we're trying to apply something that doesn't even work for this model. Like, you a iPhone 10 and I'm over here trying to put some iPhone 1 software on you and wonder why it's not working.
That's right.
That isn't going to work for you because that's not who you are. But going back to what you said earlier, I believe that is who all men are, because this is some of the stuff that we internalize, is that, okay, well, this is how men are. So I just need to sit here and be my best self, and not recognizing like this guy is operating under the principle of many. I'm going to get as many as I can.
So I can have options. And that's, I think Japonica touched on that too. We don't explore our options. We pick the one. They say all the fish in the seas, but this fish belongs to me. No, we need to see all the fishes, pick the ones, all the ones that might fit, and then do the process of elimination. This is what men do. And we get so mad at the idea that men don't settle. They do. They just choose. They have so many options and they explore all their options. I think women have more options than we recognize. We have more access than we recognize. But I think a lot of times we settle for this out of those same reasons we listed in the beginning. Fear that we'll be alone. I'm getting older. What if I miss my window for children? What if I miss the opportunity to be married at all? What if that happens? Okay, I'm anxious now. So let me hurry up and grab somebody before I end up with nobody. And that's how many women, particularly Black women, we've been sold the narrative that we're the bottom of the food chain, right? So Black women nobody checking for Black women, or so they say, right? And so we've been sold that narrative. And with that in mind, we navigate the world with, I might as well take what I can get.
Absolutely. So we've hit on some of these things that I think feed into some of these behaviors that we exhibit, right? So we're picking the same type of people, expecting different results. I always quote one of my classmates who's on here, Pastor Steve Brock, who says, we become active participants in our own victimization. So I'm actually giving you permission to treat me in this way, because I'm saying to myself, well, I just need to ride this out. I need to stay with you. I don't want to be that girl that asks all those questions. I don't want to be trying to put labels. Let me kind of navigate and give you all the power. And by virtue of that, I am consenting to things that I really don't want to consent to. Now, when you lie to me, you do take away my ability to consent, because you have not presented yourself as honest. But as Japonica said, come on, I will tell you because y'all know I'm a big consent kind of person. When you lie to me, you take away my ability to consent.
That's right.
So I cannot make an informed decision because I was not given all of the information.
Right.
But if I know, as Japonica said, that you have shown me that you don't tell the truth, then why am I going to trust and believe that you will be telling me the truth about these things? I need to govern my behavior based on who you've shown me to be, not who I would like for you to be. So as you all ladies think about this, and Ebony, I'll start with you. What are some healthy strategies, right? So we're out here and we're navigating these dating streets, and we all know what we don't want. I think sometimes we don't take the time to really be consistent with and be realistic with what we do want. So what would you recommend for those that are like, I need a dating plan? Because I feel like everybody need a plan. Like if you're trying to address something, you need a plan. What would a healthy dating plan look like for you?
Okay. So I think one thing I would say is to manage your expectations, right? Don't assume that everyone that you meet is the one that you're supposed to meet. So manage your expectations. I think a lot of times manage your investment, right? I think we are like the queens as women of over nurturing, over investing, filling in a lot of the missing spots of relationships. So if you matching energy is what we call it these days. So if he's texting, you're texting. He's calling, you're calling. He stopped texting, you stop texting. He stopped calling, you stop calling, because even no response is a response, right? And so when you're asking for something from someone, you've talked to them about what you're interested in, you've made your needs or wants known, and they're unresponsive, they're choosing not to respond, right? And so then you have a choice to make. You get to choose whether or not you'll accept their unresponse, which is essentially them telling you they're not going to meet your needs, basically. Or to say, well, that's okay, I respect their choice, and I move on to seek out the things that I need from somewhere else, someone else, right? I think also don't be so quick to settle, right? We're giving, I think you mentioned giving them all the power, giving them the choosing card, when really that power is ours to make. We don't have to allow anyone into our space that we don't want in our space. So managing your expectation, managing your energy, the investment, and then overcommittal. I think a lot of times when we get with the guy who we believe, we said this again earlier, who we believe is for us, we are all in from the start. No, make him earn your loyalty. Make him court you if you don't want courtship. Make him show his interest, demonstrate it, practice it, and let it be consistent. And if that's not the case, be willing to say, it's been nice knowing you. This has been meaningful and valuable, but obviously we're not on the same page. I'm going to release you to go and do and be whatever you want to be. Right.
Absolutely. In the name of
and
Jesus.
Allow that to be your mark, and do it repeatedly until someone sticks, I think is a good dating strategy.
You know, you mentioned something, Ebony, and a lot of Black women in particular struggle with this notion of dating multiple people, right?
Yes.
So to go back to this virtuous woman, principle that we were talking about earlier, like we have been conditioned to believe that makes us look like we're loose, we're easy. All of these words that people have created to over sexualize Black women and dehumanize and demean us when we are engaging in behaviors that some would perceive not ladylike. Right. And so, part of it is we need to redefine what it means to be a lady, but I digress. But, a lot of times women do struggle with this notion of dating multiple people. And you've mentioned that a couple of times now, like, hey, if you are dating multiple people to see who is the best fit, then that stops you from putting everything into this one person, which is when we start staying around longer than we probably need to stay around. I remember Andrea Kelly, and you all may have watched some of an interview with her where she talks about this phenomenon, as you mentioned earlier, about how we start accommodating over time. We start allowing more and more things. And she said, it didn't start out like this with R. Kelly. Over time, I kept telling myself, well, at least he's not doing this. At least he's not doing this. At least he's not doing that, until I got to a point where I had lost my whole self. And so sometimes the longer we stay in things, the easier it is to lose ourselves, because we now start getting comfortable with this behavior that, as you mentioned, we're not consistent. Hey, I said I was not going to deal with this, but now I've been with you for so long. Now I've allowed that boundary to shift. And now I'm accepting this behavior. And so if I want to have a dating plan, a dating strategy, then I need to make sure that I'm not accepting behavior that I said I wasn't going to deal with. I don't care how cute you are.
Not even once. But that's about setting healthy boundaries, right? And a lot of times we don't expect the commitment of others because we don't honor the commitments we set with ourselves. We set these rules and these standards for ourselves. And then when people don't do what they say, we're not surprised. And sometimes we're disappointed, but we come to expect the disappointment. And so we become less and less firm on our boundaries, more permissive, right? And then, of course, if we're doing the things, I think you mentioned changing what it means to be a lady. I even say go back and change what it means to actually date. Dating is not necessarily monogamous dating, right? We could be dating casually.
Absolutely.
And what is dating for? People always love to say it. Now it's trending. Dating is for data. I'm collecting the information that I need from you so that I can make an informed, as you said, decision, right? So I'm collecting all this data. Now, eventually the data is going to cue you in or it's going to exclude you. You're going to either meet the criteria or you're going to say, oh, no, she don't meet the criteria, and let me move forward. And I think we're so, we have this great steadfast and commitment in being ride or die and riding it till the wheels fall off and staying until further. No, it's time out for that. I'm not riding too far and I'm not dying no way. So we need to get this out of our system. Let that go, pull it out your shando, and we're going to move forward with the idea that, no, I'm only going to do what is mutually beneficial and what honors where I am in the moment.
Oh, it's the honoring. Japonica?
So I would say advice on how to date or, things to keep in mind is don't waste too much time on one person. Trust your instincts. If it don't feel right, or this feels like this is not for me, don't be afraid to just keep it moving. And that is why I got the text message saved in my notes. Because I'm just
a breakup text.
You understand? Like it's
the template for me, Japonica. It's the template for me.
Okay, yes. And I have perfected this thing and it's beautifully written. Okay, so
well crafted.
it's direct, but it has grace.
Mm,
And you know, but it's direct. So it's no misreading this. But not being afraid to just walk away. This is not for me. And being okay with, I don't know what's after this, but this is not for me. I think it's very important to maintain your own self-worth. And we're talking about dating, but dating at different ages mean different things.
It does.
So when I was dating in my 20s, I was having fun.
Come on, speak on it.
I wasn't thinking, well, I mean, the Christian and the saved person in the back of my mind was always wanting a family and a husband. But in college, I was just like, I want to get flued out.
Absolutely. Enjoying, learning.
We was having, but dating at 36, 37, 38, 39 is very different.
It is.
Than dating at 23. Dating at 24. So my young mentee, she's 22. I'm like, there is no way I'd be sitting here thinking about one. You're 22. Girl, where's your passport? Go and travel.
Listen.
I want to date all the kinds of different flavors.
Yeah.
Men, you know, don't be so confined to your city and you're young. And I mean, as an older woman or a more mature woman, I would encourage the same thing too. Travel, get you a passport, get you a friend group. For me, it's a little bit more challenging because people my age have kids. So I am like a unicorn and I got this freedom that other people may not have. But that was two things. The first thing was not being afraid to keep it moving. The second thing was dating at different ages looks different. And so the way I date at 37, 36 is different than the way I did at 23. And this is my third thing. And this is for people who resonate with the Christian perspective. If you don't resonate with that, then that's cool too. The Bible says, acknowledge the Lord in all your ways. Acknowledge him and he will direct your path. And I am so serious about God. I do not know the answer. I do not know this person's intentions, but you do. Reveal, help me understand, help me see. And when I see God, give me the power to accept it, even if I like him. Because if you tell me to keep it moving, I want the power and the strength to do just that. You know what I'm saying? And I want to do things a better way now. So I'm dating with a different intention. I'm dating.
Come on, intentional dating.
I'm dating with more of a servitude because y'all, when I tell you, I'm trying to do it my way and fail miserably.
Every time.
I've tried to force things because I just wanted it to be and it failed miserably. And so now I'm at such a surrendering place of like, okay, God, you do it. And if you choose not to do it, it's not that you couldn't do it. It was just you didn't do it. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And I'm good with that.
And that's okay.
I want peace.
Come on, because peace is priceless. When I tell you peace is priceless, but I mean, you bring up a couple of good things, but one, let's just be real. Every woman doesn't want to get married. And that's okay. Like, so we're talking about dating. We're not necessarily talking about dating for marriage. As you mentioned, Japonica, we date for different reasons at different points in our lives. You know, I may have already done that. I don't want to do that again. Or maybe I'm in a position where I'm learning about myself. I love that you talk about that. Girl, learn you first. First know thyself. So if I don't even know who I am, then how am I going to be out here dating? I don't know me. How are you supposed to get to know me? As Ebony said earlier, you're going to get to know the me that I want you to see because I think that's going to make you choose me. And that's not really me. And if I don't do anything in truth, then I'm not giving you the ability to be able to consent because you don't even know who you're talking to.
That's right.
Right. And so we talk a lot about our dating partners, but we have to talk about us too. Like, hey, sis, am I even in a good place to date? Because that needs to be a part of my dating plan too. You just said, now I'm asking God to speak to me, but then I don't want to listen.
What you said?
So God is like, girl, I done told you no multiple times. The first time, the fifth time, it's still no. And I'm like, but God, maybe you just need a little help seeing my vision. No, right? So I'm not ready to be able to date if I'm codependent. And like you said, I'm not able I'm not able to let go and say no because I just want somebody there in the space. I can't move on. I love what you said about I don't have to know what's next.
That's it.
Right. So I don't need to stay around because I don't know what's next. I need to leave because I don't know what's next.
That's right.
Right. So shifting that perspective. And what you say, girl, travel, get you a passport. Get out here and live some life before you try to find a partner, because that opens your perspectives. We're so narrow, which is why we have, going back to what Ebony said, these unrealistic expectations of dating partners. And y'all mentioned the datings in the 20s. Yeah, what was he looking for in the 20s? He was fine. That was the only requirement.
Yep. Got a car, got a job.
You got a car, got a job, you're fine.
You know, you had at the car, but you need to look good.
You needed to be fine. There was no depth to you at all. I just wanted somebody to be on my, and I wasn't looking for no depth in my 20s.
In your 20s, yeah.
But in my 30s and in my 40s, then I want to update, which is what I heard you say, Japonica. I need to update my dating plan. I can't be using the same dating plan from my 20s now that I'm in my 40s. I need to grow. And so my dating plan also needs to grow. What would you ladies say sabotages the dating plan, right? So we've talked about, all right, I put it out there. Y'all done told me all these good tips and strategies. I done wrote down these notes. I done tweeted all of this good information. Like, girl, this is a good word right here. But what stops us from following that dating plan? I'll start with you, Japonica.
I think for me, again, and I just want to hit that, what Ebony said about the chameleon, because I've been that and I've done that. And it goes back to that pick me thing. Like, oh, choose me. I'm better than her. And I'm better than her. I'm the one for you. And, oh, so you don't like a girl that cuss? I ain't gonna cuss. And you don't like a girl that drink? I ain't gonna drink. But you know that when you're on the phone with your friend girls, it's like a whole vibe. And it's like, I've been that girl. So I feel like I've sabotaged. Well, one way of sabotaging your plan is not sticking to it.
My God.
You know, it's like, okay, I'm looking for someone that has more depth. And something that you said, and I'm not getting preachery, but I was telling my little
girl, if you don't be you, stop apologizing for being who you are.
I told my little mentee, she was just saying, like, I want a man that's taller than me. And it was just like so fickle. And it was so basic. And I said, listen, let me tell you something. I said, when God told Samuel to go anoint a new king for the children of Israel, because Saul had been rejected, he went to Jesse's house. Jesse brought all his sons out and they all looked good. They were tall, broad shoulders. They looked like a king. Samuel said, surely this must be him. And the Spirit of God said, look not on man's outward appearance. I don't look at the outward appearance, but I look at the content of the heart. You keep going down a little further. He goes and gets David. And the Bible says David was young, handsome, with beautiful eyes. So don't be looking for a certain type of looking man.
Yes.
You want a man that has a certain character to go with you where you're going, and to be able to support you where you are.
If you don't get a people a word tonight,
mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, because after you take the lace front off and you wash the makeup and the lashes off and you're broken, or maybe you're having a bad day, you know, you want that person to be able to speak life into you and see you for where you are and still see the best in you. And so a man cannot love me the way Christ loves the church, with that unconditional love, or at least strive to in that walk, then I don't want it.
Come on, see me.
Be by myself. So I think we sabotage the plan by not sticking to the plan. I think we sabotage the plan with lack of balance. You know, that excitement. So you go head over heels and you forget all your other things that you had going for yourself. And don't forget your own self-worth. I love, somebody said it, you, Dr. Tarver, or Ebony, about being courted. That's a lost
that was
art
Ebony's
form.
word right there.
That's a lost art form. Like my time is valuable. And I'm not one of these podcast women who's like, give me your money, I'm a baddie and all that. That's not my energy, my vibe. If you're experiencing something with me, best believe you're getting some out of it too. Okay.
Right.
You see that look she gave you? See that look? She was like, best believe. Let me be clear.
Every time I open my mouth, blessings come out. So that means you get your business getting better, your money is getting better. We're gonna walk in the room and change the dynamic. That's the kind of anointing on us.
Come on, partnership.
So you're gonna be blessed as a result of just being by me. But I'm saying, I have an honor on me given to me by my father, it is worth working for.
Yes.
If Jacob can work 14 years for Rachel, surely you can give me some flowers.
Yeah.
Surely you can open this door because I'm worth that.
Come on.
And
Come on,
I
ask for what you
carry
want.
myself as such. So stick to your plan. Don't
Yes.
neglect your own work, and just continue to put forth out what it is that you want. And if they cannot rise to the occasion, that's fine. Don't try to make them, and don't demean their character. Just keep it moving to someone who can.
Absolutely. Let me get, I got a Kleenex box. Will that count as the collection plate? Because when I tell you,
and it will,
you just like everybody's like, oh my goodness, because you said what a lot of women are afraid to say, because we feel like that would be arrogance. We feel like that's going to eliminate our dating pool because we aren't able to speak on ourselves like that. Know your worth. Someone in the chat mentioned that earlier. Know your worth. You are going to, this the blessing from adjacents that I'm talking about. You are adjacently blessed just by being next to me, because I know what I bring, because I'm going to pour into you, because that's who I am. And if I know, TD Jakes, I can't do it the justice that he did. But when he talks about, why am I trying to pour all of this bottle into this little cap? It cannot accept or receive, or this water is going to be overflowing in the same way that this little cap cannot fill up my bottle.
Right.
So as you said, I just need to move on. I don't need to try to drag you, pull you, redress you, give you a purpose, pray you into something. That is not who you are. And part of me sticking to this dating plan is being able to accept that that is not who you are, and that's okay. It don't mean you're a bad person. It don't mean I'm being mean or ugly, because I recognize that that's not you. But let's not take up any more energy once I see that, because I see that, as you said early on. I see that. I see that in the courtship. The fact that you don't want to court me is information.
Yes.
So if I'm collecting this data, as Ebony said, you have already shown me that's not who you are. Go on and be blessed. That's okay. Like you said, I got the script and text. Hey, I appreciate blah, 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 but this is not blah, 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 blah. And we're just going to move forward, because I don't want to give you an invitation to try to talk me into something.
That part. Yes.
So, and I tease you about the text, but I like the text because, like you said, it's clear.
It's really good. It's clear.
It's clear, and it stops all of this extra communication, because once I tell you, because now I'm giving you information, and then the truth will set you free. So now once I tell you, then you can make an informed decision like, okay, well, she's not interested. Let me move on. Right. So I've given you all the information you need to move forward. So you did that.
Dr. Tarver.
Go ahead.
The way I carry myself does make my dating pool smaller. But I want God's best, because God is making me his best. And so I'll wait for the best.
You say, I don't need a plethora.
No, you don't.
I'll wait for the best. There are plenty of fish in the sea, but you got trout, you got the kind of fish that you throw back. I mean, I want what I want. And I'm not talking about financial. I'm not talking about status in society. I'm talking about content of character. I'm talking about the heart. I'm talking about the mind. I'm talking about the things I cannot buy. I don't want the bag or the Gucci. I don't want you to fly me out. I really can do that myself. But I really want somebody at my most broken state. Can you be there for me then? When I'm not, I am Japonica, and I'm just little JP. Are you going to be able to cover me in that moment? And so my time is valuable.
Come on, transparency.
My time is valuable. I work a lot, Ebony. You know how many jobs I got.
That part.
And so if I
you got to fund all this wonderfulness.
I know, right? If I want to go out for a nice dinner or spend some time with a man, I can do that. But if I'm looking for someone to truly make a life differently, I'm not going to accept all interest.
Yeah.
And you know what? That is a good word right there in itself, because we have been taught that when we limit our dating pool, that just increases the likelihood that we're going to be alone. So these are some of, again, these messages that we really need to replace with accurate data points. No, I actually want to limit it. I don't want it to be too large, because when it's too large, that means there'll be things in there that don't actually fit within my dating plan. So if I'm following my dating plan, I should be limiting, because everybody's not going to fall within that. And again, that's okay. And everybody's dating plan is going to look different.
That's
Yeah.
true.
So I don't have to follow your dating plan. I need to figure out what my dating plan is and work within that. And then when I have these limited choices, then I will know that they are much more likely to meet these requirements, because I've already done, come on, screening. You know, this is why a lot of times when you're looking for a job, and I tell people dating is like job searching, like there's a screening process. You don't even meet the basic qualifications, much less the preferred. So I only really need to be dealing with people who are in my preferred qualifications. I don't need to be, I'm not even hiring for that position.
Right.
So why am I interviewing you? You haven't gotten there. Go ahead, Ebony.
That's right. No, I think you guys summed it up perfectly. I think one of the biggest like things we do to sabotage ourselves is like seeing and not believing, right? I think we talk about like the different ways that we like deceive ourselves, right? We rationalize, we justify, we minimize, right? And so a person can tell you who they are. They can act on that. Like you said, that word and that action don't match. It's incongruent, right? And so we believe what we want to believe. We don't believe them when they say, I just want to be friends. Yes, I just want to be friends, but if you give me these draws, I'm going to take these draws up off you. But I just want to be friends. But he told you he want to be friends. Believe him what he said. He said he's not ready for no relationship, right?
But he wants them draws too if you're going to give them.
Hand him that nice pair.
He say, hand him here. I know we just friends, but hand him here.
If
and
you
said, okay, well, surely he must like me for real if he'll take these draws. No, ma'am. He said he want to be friends.
No.
He meant he want to be friends.
That.
And, he didn't stutter. He didn't mince words, right? He told him exactly. But we don't. What we do is we try to find a way, a loophole, an exception to change the reality to our reality.
Yeah.
Right? We are not good with acceptance and allowing things to be what they are.
Ooh.
Right? We ain't gonna let it be what it is. We want it to be what we want it to be. So we look for all the exceptions, all the opportunities to change the narrative. No, he said that, make him stand on it. She said that, make her stand on it. If I say it, I'm gonna walk mine to the limit. I'm gonna take it to the limit, right? And I think we spend so much energy, right, not believing people for who they are. Trying to make them trying to make us into who we think they want. That chameleon always come back around the block for me because I've seen it happen and I've been her too. So I know that this happens. And then when we get at the end, we are dumbfounded when we turn out that to be who he thought we was.
Come on, deliver me from the chameleon spirit. You know, that is probably somebody's needed prayer. Deliver me from this chameleon.
Listen. I am who I am.
Come on.
I am who I am. Now you can take all of this and let it bless you real good.
Come on, be blessed.
It will.
Go get you what you want. You can take it all and have some and let it bless you. Or you can just have none. That's perfectly fine. But just say that. Don't play with me and finagle and miss words with me. And I'm thinking one thing and you're thinking something else. And I think another big thing, I think Japonica mentioned it, is that we are so scared to have a standard. Because standards make us look difficult.
Ooh, come on.
We seem difficult when we have standards. Well, of course we seem difficult if the rest of the world is like allowing all this mess to take place, right? So yes, I am difficult, right? I don't need you to know where I say. Pull it out. Get your card. We take cash out.
Okay, now. Come on now. Speak that word.
It's appropriate. It is totally appropriate that I don't want you to know where I stay. That's my home. That's my safe space for me and my child.
Boundary.
But when the other one gonna let you come over the first night and move in on week 2, I do seem difficult.
It's the moving in. It's the moving in for me.
Weird, right? But that doesn't make me at all want to let you live with me.
Now,
so if you need a place to stay, just say that, and I can just say no roommate, so we can move on.
Now you done took this
for you.
Look, we don't even have enough time to get into that one about.
Okay, sorry, I'm gonna come back.
About how we not only have we moved away from any standard or plan, we are now taking care of partners. Like I'm trying to grow and learn and raise you too. Now,
No go.
As y'all
Exactly.
young folks say, make it make sense.
Make it
We-
make
It
sense.
makes sense. It makes none. It
We,
makes none.
how
And-
can
and
we be
people do that.
partners when you're not even fully developed?
Ooh, ooh. I'm on a new level. I'm on a new level.
Yeah,
Come on,
like
bro.
you can't move from grandmama house to just the next woman. Like you literally have not even established anything
But
on your
that's what
own.
is allowed. That's what's
We-
allowed.
because
And
we
as
are
women
afraid.
can allow it. We
Oh yeah,
allow
we
it.
afraid. Like a
So we
pizza
gotta
man.
prove
What
that we
you
down.
say?
Betty,
That song was a
Betty,
lie.
right,
That
said
was a
a
lie.
pizza man is better than having no man at all.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna
Betty
take what I
said
can
that.
get and
It was
work
a
with it.
story.
Absolutely,
It was a
absolutely,
story.
absolutely.
Rest in peace. You lied though. You lied, girl.
But she said, "Now this was a song. Now I never meant for this to be y'all's dating plan. This
Come on,
not
somebody.
right
Come on.
because we have to consider the source. Now you gave us a whole. Well, both of y'all have given us a whole word about here is honest, accurate information. So
Yeah.
you have to consider where you're getting your information. You want your song, your wisdom to come from song lyrics, or do you want your wisdom to come from something that you actually can measure the accuracy of?
It's the
Right.
measurement for
So
me.
it's the
Yeah.
measurement for me, right? We talked about the data.
Yeah.
Now I like to be mindful of folks' time. So what is your last word to leave with our viewers this evening about growing, learning, healing in this dating experience? We got songs out there. We got social media out there. We got the family members at the barbecue that's giving us a hard time. We got our people in our support system that's giving us. We got church. We have all of these messages coming in. What are your last words for women who are like, one of our viewers said, it's even, you got to be even more intentional when you start getting them 60s and 70s. So as you can see, like we are dating across the lifespan. So what would be your last message that you want to leave our beautiful audience with?
I would say, life is so precious. I think his name is Neil Tyson DeGrasse. I think that's how you pronounce it. He's an astrophysicist or something like that. Black man. He's amazing. He asks a question: would you like to live forever? And the other person in the interview said yes. He says, well, I would say no, because it's the infinite knowledge that I will die, which makes my moments that much more precious. Your time is so incredibly beautiful. Your moments of your present of now is so incredibly beautiful and precious. And I would not want you to spend one moment unhappy, chaos, confusion, desolate, or depressed. If it does not serve the purpose of peace, positivity, and productivity, keep it moving. I would rather be in my space full of comfort and peace with my plants and my animal than to be laid next to someone who literally makes my moments on earth hell. So I want you to understand that though being coupled and being partnered is a gift and a beautiful thing, it was not your purpose on earth. You were not born on earth to be with someone. It's a part of that journey. You were born on earth to discover who you are and explore that to the fullest before you leave. So as we're dating across these different ages in our lifespan, learn that the most important relationship you can have is the one with yourself.
That's it.
Embrace that one. Love on that.
Yeah.
That's the one that matters.
Let me find my checkbook.
I think I'll piggyback with Japonica and I'll say, pay attention to how you feel. It is a song lyric that says you'll know the truth by the way it feels. And there's a TikTok going around that says if it doesn't feel like love, if it doesn't feel like joy, if it doesn't feel like peace, if it doesn't feel like prosperity and positivity, it's immediately no for me. When you're with these people who you're choosing and you're considering for partnerships or friendships or business relationships, pay attention to how you really feel.
I like that.
Pay attention to how you really feel, because if it doesn't feel real, it's probably not.
Ooh.
If it doesn't feel like peace, it's probably not. If it feels like confusion, it probably is. Trust yourself to determine what you feel, right? And I think just the last thing, can't nobody love you like you love you.
Say it.
Can't nobody love you like you love
Say
you.
it.
Love you the best. That's all.
Yes.
That's all I gotta say.
I mean, there is nothing else I can add. to that. You all have closed this out in the way that I knew that you would be able to. Ladies, thank you for your transparency,
Thank you.
for your vulnerability, for
Thank
sharing
you.
your wisdom, for using your gifts. It is so important for us to know we're not alone in this struggle. Everything we talked about tonight, some woman in this dating experience has had happen, and there was shame about it, and there was guilt about it, and there was hiding. And one of the things that sets us free is that we stop hiding.
Right.
Let's talk about it. Let's get in the space of love and communion with other women to be like, hey, girl, it's okay. We all been there. You're not any less than because you stayed in that thing 10 years.
Nope.
We are just thankful that you came out.
Yes.
So whenever you get there, you are there. And if you need some help getting out of there, we have you with that too. So, because we are going to love you unconditionally.
Absolutely.
So I thank you, ladies.
Thank
Much
you.
thanks to Japonica Brown,
Thank
to Ebony
you.
Young for
Thank
being
you.
guests on Tea Time with Dr. Tarver as we kicked off our August series. You all know that we got a lot to unpack this month of August. So let me just let you know what's coming up. August 9th, the conversation, resilience and growth, life after lockup. The 16th, the conversation, no choice, no voice, reproductive rights. The 23rd, the conversation, the children COVID left behind. And on the 30th, the conversation, the forever heartbreak of losing a child. So yeah, we getting deep in this month. August is a long month. We got a lot to unpack. And I thank people for giving me topics and ideas. And if you know someone who could benefit, this will be on all your favorite listening medias. So your Apple, your Spotify, your Anchor. This will also be posted to Facebook and Instagram and on YouTube. So if you know somebody who could be blessed by what these ladies have blessed you with tonight, please share it, right? Because we are in a kingdom where we share information and resources. We don't have to squander them and hold them for fear somebody gonna take them from us, because there are plenty to go around. Everybody have a most wonderful night. Ladies, I love you.
Love you too.
Thank you.
Everybody be well.